Welcome to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki, where inspiration meets action. This is your spot to grow, level up, and lead with fresh ideas. From sales to service, from frontline teams to executives, we're dropping weekly knowledge and insight to keep your store sharp, relevant, and profitable. Let's get into it. Well, welcome everybody back to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. I'm with Fred Emich today, and he is legacy third-generation dealer here and leader in Colorado. And I'm doing something I don't usually ever get to do, actually have an in-person podcast. Welcome today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's exciting. I've never been in a recording studio before.
Yeah, no, most people don't. That's why I wanted to walk you around before I came in here. A lot of rappers come through here, and when I got introduced to this studio, I really enjoyed coming here because it's such a good vibe. I think when people come here, they just want to do better. They look at that hit song. Anyway, I see your stores around town, and I know you work mostly out of the Volkswagen store, but dealer, general manager here today. He's got Volkswagen, Chevy, Kia.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. And I will tell you, the reputation is very solid. And it's one of the reasons why you stood out to me, because I always like to run across people that care about people and are looking to build people up in their organizations. And I'm always looking for innovators, people that get in on, say, technology a little bit sooner than others. And there's pros and cons to doing that. Sometimes you take the hit as things start to escalate. And anyway, I feel like, you've got you've been adopting technology for some time. You're very focused on the service department. We don't typically see owners, GMs, like real locked in on the service department. So I'm excited to have some of these kind of conversations with you today.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, tell me, you're part of a dealer group. You guys have been in business for 100 years, right?
Yeah.
Over 100 years?
There's kind of a story to that. It's not 100 consecutive years.
Okay, let's hear it.
So my great-grandfather started in 1922.
Jeez.
Okay. He had dealerships in Chicago.
Okay.
At some point, my grandfather moved out to Joliet, Illinois.
I know that, yeah. Had
dealerships there until, I think, 1984. I actually just read an article about the current dealer who's in a lawsuit, and that's how I found out the date, because that's when they bought it from my grandfather. And he moved down to Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
And in 1975, my father and his uncle, so my great uncle, started here in Denver, and then the continuity kind of breaks because my dad sold to AutoNation in 1996.
Oh, wow. He was one of the early ones.
Very early. And then we didn't get back into business until 2004.
Okay.
However, my grandfather did, and my uncle still had dealerships down in Tucson through that. So you can say our family's been in business for over 100 years.
Wow, that's just outstanding. Yeah. I have one other dealer group, Pohanka. That can flex that.
Yeah.
But you certainly see a lot, and you have these conversations your entire life about people and business and evolving and staying relevant. And I'm just curious, at this point now, you're operating, you're submersed into this thing. Of course, you have a lot of pressure. You got to keep the torch lit.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say are the things that really are on your radar as a leader every moment of every day? And that if this slips out from under you, everything could come and crash and burn. What are the things that stay on your target literally every day?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
Because you don't want to be stagnant. You have to stay relevant. Yeah. You got to change.
I mean, it's my people every day, and making sure that they're invested, that they see a future, that they're doing, their best, and they're not coming to work and or not liking it. So just making sure that, touching those people as much as I can, and getting a pulse on kind of where our organization is at. And,
okay.
That'll usually tell me that we have problems somewhere, or I need to look into this or that, and just kind of getting a feel with kind of what their temperament is.
So how do you do that? So sometimes people say, I mean, can you see everybody in an
Mm.
organization? How realistic is it to see people on a regular or a consistent basis? But so what's your secret weapon? How do you do that?
I do better at some of my dealerships than others in being able to,
That's real.
touch more. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm in one
right.
way more often than the
Exactly.
other, and I have a total beat on what's going on there. I spend a full day at one once a week, and I
Hmm.
feel like I have a pretty good beat. And then the other two is,
Hmm.
I'm sporadically in, and I have to communicate with the GMs, the service managers, the sales managers, more so to get that beat. So I'm not getting it as directly from the
The front
employees,
line.
and
Hmm.
sometimes that can mask some things that are going on.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think it's always important to feel like you have a next level in an organization, and I think a lot of times too, with technology making such a big step into what our day to day looks like and reshaping roles and reshaping processes. Um, I wonder, how do you stay relevant through technology? You might have some examples for us, but how do you get your team to adopt? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because I think that that's always the biggest challenge of staying relevant. For me, it's that we've got the right tools, we got the right software, we got the right people. It's a whole thing,
Yeah.
right? But then it's like you get the right tool, and then and people don't know how to use it, or they don't. We don't have the right leadership or accountability
Right.
on it. So how do you stay relevant through technology? How do you view this?
So I think in the car business, a lot of people want to just continue doing what they're doing and not change. Change can be very difficult.
The worst.
Um, and I've dealt with trying, it's where as a leader, you're like, constantly trying to evolve. You're constantly changing. You want to be ahead of things,
Hmm.
and so it's change all the time, or
Hmm.
that's essentially what you want to do or what your vision is, where the day-to-day person, they want to continue. I mean, there's people that work for me that I'm sure would continue to work in the blue screen in Reynolds, and they just know it and they never wanted to change anything. And it's like, even if it's better, I don't want to do it. It's a different process that I have to learn.
Hmm.
So what I've learned is in order for this to happen, you have to get all the team members invested in the change or not make the change.
Well, how do you do that? Give us an example, because I think sometimes dealers will see
Hmm.
a great shiny tool and
Yep.
they're like, hell yeah, we need that. You know what? Buy now.
Yeah.
And then the problem for me is always, oh, we bought it, but we didn't include people in the decision.
Right.
And then, like, even with my own training, if I go into the store and the dealer bought it and they didn't tell anybody, I,
Hmm.
I don't even want to go in there.
Yeah.
I always make them get a meeting, get everybody on here. Let me introduce myself. Let me send them some videos, show them who I am. That way, it's a lot smoother of a transition for adoption or execution, or at least for them to listen,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So sometimes it's difficult because, the vendors reaching out to you, they want to set up the demo. So trying to get the schedules at least aligned to
Oh,
where,
yeah.
you have, if you're looking at a service tool, that you have at least your service manager, maybe a shop foreman, some decision makers in the room that can see the demo to begin with. And they don't always love that because that's not the best use of their time and they're busy during the day. So,
Yeah. It's a
it may
hurdle.
be something where I just look at the tool first, say, hey, does this pass my test first? And then we have to get the people that are going to be using it day to day
Mhm.
and see, and I put it like, hey, here, this is what I'm going to pay. This is why I think it's a great tool, but you're going to use it day to day. And if I'm going to pay for this and you're not going to use it, then we're not going to do it.
It does make sense because even I think sometimes get people get excited when they see what you saw too, and then it's
Mhm.
like, okay, buy now. But then execution's different because there's more team members that have to be a part of
Mhm.
that. So what does that look like for you when you've invested in something, you've got behind it, your service manager, for example, got behind it, but
Mhm.
then the shop's busy. Things are moving so fast, it's like, and then you're trying to integrate a new process, you're trying to integrate a new tool. So what has worked for you?
So I definitely say on the service end of things, I have some very good service managers and they're very good at accountability.
Mm,
So that has helped. So if they are wrapped into or they're committed to making it work, they've done a good job of
champion it. Mm.
holding the team accountable.
Are these typically going to be your longer term team members, or do you find that you have like a senior level person, or is it just somebody that tends to be like game for anything?
In terms of who's
Who
like a service
or
manager
who's
or
champion? Who are your guys? What are their characteristics that typically will take the ball and run with
Mhm.
it with you?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we have to sell the whole team,
Yeah.
and that includes like the end, mainly the end users of how is it gonna make me better, earn more money, what's in it for me, sort
Yeah.
of thing, and
Mhm.
and we have to be able to check that box
Mhm.
that we can easily sell it to the team member, that it's not just adding another step to their job, that they can see what the benefit is.
Okay. Yeah, because I always wonder, like, because I notice in some certain in certain service departments, it'll be like more a senior guy who is a team player. He's been down this road before.
Hmm.
He knows what you're looking for. You know, he wants to make it work, and he'll hold the team accountable
Hmm.
to we gotta, here's what it is. Here's how it works. This is what you got to do. We'll ask him questions and things like this. And I quite frankly think that that is a high priority
Hmm.
when you're trying to adopt a new tool. You guys have implemented AI, for example, for many years. Can you
Hmm.
walk me through your journey with how that works with your teams? And I'll tell you why I'm asking is because a lot of times we see now all of the tools we're using slap on an AI, and some
Hmm.
of them are they're very easy tools to slap on. Everybody then they start replicating,
Hmm.
because it's an easy tech, and
Right.
some are more complex. And I find sometimes that this is a great example of how do you integrate it. And if you were an early adopter, and I know you
Hmm.
were,
Hmm.
and when you're an early adopter, you're pumped. You're like, oh, first one on the scene, competitive advantage, let's go. And it may not work the way that you were sold it. It may not work the way that you anticipated it. It may not be working integration wise with your systems.
Yep.
Your people might not even like it. But can you walk us through like some of the things that you've gone through that have
Yeah.
helped you get to the mindset that you're in now? So, and then tell me how you vet new tech, knowing where you've been. And
Sure.
let's use AI as an example.
Yeah. So AI is all the rage right now. I
Right.
mean, that's I didn't go to NADA last year. I'm going to NADA this year. But what I've heard from the last 2 years, and I know talking to vendors, it's AI this, AI that.
It's so
So it's like,
confusing.
are we adding AI just to say that we have
Yes,
AI?
that's
And
what it
then
was
you hear,
2 years
maybe you
ago.
listen to other industry podcasts. It's like, if you're not on the cutting edge of AI, you're going to be left behind.
That's
And
probably true too.
maybe there's two camps that are, old school, like I don't need the AI, and then
That's
there's camps that are
they're out
just,
there.
we're going to use AI for everything.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest thing is I don't, right now in automotive,
Hmm.
particularly on the sales side, I don't feel like there is the AI has been so restricted to do what it's meant to do
Hmm.
that I don't feel like it's great. And I think the story that the one, I forget the dealer, but they sold like a Tahoe or something for like $25. And at the end of the day, I think General Motors
Oh.
stepped in and just gave this person a car. But they had the whole transaction, and they kind of tricked the AI into, and I don't remember what all the details were,
Hmm.
but I know a lot of these vendors that you talk to, like they have to train the AI so that it won't do that.
Yeah, they need guardrails.
But with doing that, I think putting those training wheels on the AI, it is not as robust
That's
as what
correct.
it could
Won't be
be.
as flexible.
So we initially went in with AI from a lead response standpoint,
Hmm.
and then we didn't feel like we were getting much. I mean, it was like not even much better than what we could do with just what we were doing previously by just having automated emails
Right, an
at
auto sales
at a
process.
cadence. I mean,
Hmm.
it would ask the same question
Hmm.
at same email, same question. So it didn't seem that intelligent. But now we're using AI to help the salespeople craft responses and stuff like that
Hmm.
on that side of things. We do use Numa
Hmm.
in the service end, and that's really helped us. And that from an AI standpoint, I mean, it has the ability to set the appointment on the phone, which
Hmm.
is the strength of it. But really, what we're trying to do is triage all these service phone calls. We kind of hit a point where either we needed a service BDC or we needed another solution.
How about that?
We were able to roll Numa in, and since we haven't needed a service BDC, and we've been able to, I think, effectively communicate with our customers.
Wow.
and then also allow the service advisors to do their job, which is mainly, checking in people face to face,
Yeah.
outbound calls,
Do you feel like that is the mission moving forward? Like when you look at new tech, are you trying to enable a better face to face encounter? Because I find a lot of times, and tell me if I'm wrong, but especially like, new guys, younger guys that come into the scene, they don't even do walkarounds on cars anymore. And I'm
hmm
like, that's where we need you. We need you face to face. We need you like the first impression. We need you like building relationships with people, remembering things about people, and help get them involved in the car.
hmm
Help teach them something.
Right.
Be memorable.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think with any of the technology, I mean, you have to look first, like, is this technology, is it making the dealership better?
Mhm.
And then how does it integrate within your systems? I mean, that's another thing is there's a lot of great technology that is clunky to integrate into the systems that we personally have.
Mm.
Maybe a different vendor or something like that. And then, then will the employees actually use it
Right.
and leverage it?
Yeah. But are you looking for tech that allows your people to be more face to face? Because all the technology is becoming more automated.
hmm
It is becoming more, we're seeing a lot of voice. We're seeing just a lot of different types. It's all about efficiency, right? That's what
Right.
we're looking for. But is that the goal? Is to get your guys to be more face to face?
The goal for us is when they're face to face in front of the to free up an employee to focus on the customer when they're in the store,
Yeah.
and to not have to worry about the 10 other tasks that they have
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes, so they can really just focus on
Mm-hmm.
the customer experience in the store.
Let me ask you this. So you mentioned using Numa, and I have a lot of stores and that use Numa, and there's some great efficiencies in it. Sometimes I have
hmm
found, and it's not them in particular, it's just that technology has been around for a little bit of time. So the early adopters got in on it. It didn't exactly do what they wanted it to do. And I'm meeting more and more service teams that are jaded now by an AI tool, and they
hmm
find, I've heard so many people say to me, like huff and puff over it, lots of sighs, lots of eye rolls. When you talk about voice AI, like a Numa doing some of the
hmm
inbound scheduling, and maybe that the scheduling part of it didn't land the way that they wanted it to, and then it creates more tasks for them.
hmm
And the next thing you know, they're whining, complaining about it not working, and then they don't get behind it, and then it's just a negative vibe. Have you seen this before?
Yeah, I mean, I think that particular example is the same thing as a customer setting an appointment online.
Mm-hmm.
Is it's never going to be as good as talking to an advisor, because the advisor knows, that the customer, that a lot of people, okay, that's all I can get. I'll just set it for an oil change, but I have a check engine light. I'll just tell them that when I get there.
Right.
And then they're made to deal with, okay, well, I know you came in here and you thought you're going to be here for an hour, but now
Guess
you're
what?
adding
Now
a
it's 5.
check engine light, and we don't even know.
Right.
And then that customer experience derails.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it, but it's the same. It's going to be the same way whether they do it online or
Mm-hmm.
they do it over the phone. And for our team, it's big enough lift in terms of the burden of the phone calls that they were receiving, and a lot of times you'll have people, they want you to diagnose their car over the
I know.
phone, and you get advisors stuck on the phone for minutes,
Oh yeah,
even an
going down all
hour,
sorts of rabbit
all
holes.
sorts of rabbit holes, when at the end of the day we need to see the car to determine
Right.
what it needs. So
Mm-hmm.
really trying to be as efficient as we can as
Mm-hmm.
possible to get them in the store,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can have those face-to-face conversations in terms of, well,
Yeah.
we didn't add this and we can add this now, and this is what it's going to look
Mm-hmm.
like.
I certainly see the benefit of all of these tools, and I
hmm
think they've evolved over time. And I wonder if you have naysayers. How do you guys handle that? Or what have you found to be the most effective way if somebody on the team doesn't want to use and leverage the tools
hmm
that and maybe others do.
Yeah.
So how do you look at that for your overall business?
I mean, some of these tools are an all or nothing tool,
Mm.
so it's handling, everyone's book of business, and,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no way for them to opt out of it. Where other tools that we have are prompted by the employee, so it's
Okay.
the employee has the choice and how much they want to integrate that tool into their work or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one where you see very different, use cases between, different employees. And I'd say, for we don't want to force, anything on them, but when we have a tool that we feel like is effective across the dealership and it's, making, our communication with customers, more efficient, more effective, and it is benefiting the employees.
Is that the first real win right there?
Which one?
Right there, where the customer feeling.
Mm-hmm.
When you're leveraging the tool, you have to gauge it. Is it working? Do we like it? But not to interrupt you, but I just wonder, like, where is that first win?
I mean, the win is obviously that you're doing better with the customer, and the customer realizes that.
Me too.
Now, at first, with a tool like Numa, I don't think they necessarily feel that because it's this voice thing that they have to trust. That if they leave a message, but then when they see the reaction that our staff is able to have with that, and not, it going to a voicemail and, maybe they get a call back, maybe they don't. It could be a long time after versus they're very responsive on the text. We have some purview in terms of, when was that received? It's not responded to. Then it goes to the next level that gets responded to. And we know where we are responding to people in a very quick fashion, where on a typical phone system, you have no idea.
I got you. Okay. And so just thinking about some of the people that don't adopt it, how does that unfold?
I mean, it's a typical, you go into a service department, drop off your car, you don't get an update.
I know.
You call in for the update, you get the service advisor's voicemail, you leave him a voicemail, you don't hear anything from him. Then you're in a meeting, they call you back, but you can't pick up the phone. So that's where text messaging is much easier communication with a customer. And there's a point where, yes, you need to pick up the phone. You need to sell the job. And voice-to-voice communication is necessary. But I would say, more than 50%, if not 80+% of the communication with the service, in service can be done more effectively through text message.
Yeah, I think so too, especially like status updates. I mean, what else do we don't need to call for that. The only thing that I've ever, where I locked in on was the call. The video goes down. I work with the technicians all the time. The technicians, it's been difficult to get them all to do the video, and they finally get on board with it. And you finally got, you got a process down, and it's the setup, right? For me, it's a great guest experience. You have to send the video. The video, and customers like it, and you know that because when you don't do it, they're like, "Hey, I didn't get the video."
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is, in my mind, a baseline in service drives. If you're not sending a video, you're not meeting the customers where their expectations are. The problem is getting those technicians invested in that process. And, I've heard, why am I doing the advisor's job?
Right.
So we actually pay 0.2 hours for a video.
Really?
Yep. So we pay time for it because it is, technicians, time is money for them.
Yeah.
And that's helped us
it's a good incentive.
Just develop. I mean, every car gets a video.
Yeah.
And over a course, a period of time, they realize, hey, I'm selling a lot more work by making good videos.
Right.
And I don't have to rely on an advisor. All the techs know, they may have one advisor they really like, does a good job selling, but not, you're in a bigger dealership, you got 4 or 5 advisors, they can't pick and choose every job that they get. And they're in a little bit more control of their destiny at that point.
I like that. Yeah. One incentive, I'll throw this out here. Have you guys done the AI glasses?
No.
Because it's Christmas time.
Like
I'll throw it out there.
The Ray-Bans?
Yeah. This is a great technician gift.
Yeah.
I do contests around it.
Yeah.
And so if there's a certain thing that your behavior you're looking for in your technician videos that you haven't quite got there yet, they really like these AI glasses. In some stores, we put them into every tech bay.
Yeah.
And they can listen to their music during the day.
Right.
Right. They could actually translate from the guy next to them.
Right. And it protects their eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun gift. And anyways, I have a pair, and I use them for when I just vacation.
Right.
But yeah, it's cool,
Yeah.
because it's just click.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
video's already going. It's just very easy to navigate, and they
I
think it's
think
kind of a cool
that's
thing.
a great suggestion. So
They're on sale right
I'm,
now for
I'm
$2.39.
I'm gonna look at it for sure.
um, yeah. So then, yeah, of course, now you got the guys doing the video. They're pumped and everything, and I think it's a great guest experience. It's a setup, and then a lot of times the customer's going to get the text with the MPI, and I oftentimes feel like we should still call and explain that work.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that is the most important call. I think I think that everybody tries to dispute me on this because they say people don't want calls anymore. What do you think? Like real. Do you think people don't want calls anymore? Do you think they want to call to hear an explanation about
I don't think
car?
they want a robocall. I don't think they want,
Yeah.
these different sorts of calls that I get throughout the day. But yeah, if I drop my car off and I'm, it needs some work and I need to understand what that work is, absolutely. You can see who's calling. That they're going to make a choice to pick it up or not. Or a lot can be articulated in a voicemail, and most of those voicemails are transcribed now.
Right.
So it's essentially, a more detailed, text message.
Yeah.
But yeah, the phones, I agree, are still a very, very important part of our business that I think a lot of people are getting away. And I know I have a lot of younger employees that, quite frankly, are afraid. They're afraid to pick up the phone and call people.
Yeah, that's what they tell me.
Yeah,
I hear it more and more and more. I don't know what to say. I'm not a phone person. They say, I'm not comfortable calling people.
Yeah, I don't want to bother them. And
I don't want to bother them. I don't want to bother them. And I find myself saying all the time, well, then who's going to sell the work? Who's going to sell the work? Well, they got the video. They got the text. I say, but they don't have you.
Yeah.
You're the glue.
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
And
that's your job.
Yeah. But I also find a lot of times technicians or advisors will say to me, they'll say, oh, that guy, he doesn't ever buy anything. Oh, that guy, he's busy. He doesn't want us to call. He told me specifically, don't sell him shit today. And I'll hear like, it's just endless. Oh, we're too busy to make calls, Jen. Listen, we're down 2 advisors. We're so busy. And it's, it's, for me, I find you got to it doesn't matter whether it's service or sales, you need the whole trifecta. You need, calls. If you're in the sales department, can you imagine like not calling and you just think like a text thread is going to set appointments and bring them in?
Well, there's some people trying to do that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think do you think that we are in a world where customers literally don't want you to call them?
No, not at all. But I think there's a subset of people that believe that, by calling people that you're disrupting their lives or that they're going to get yelled at or they're afraid of it.
Yeah.
So, and maybe a younger generation that, some of them may have, I have young kids, but one of their phones is on Do Not Disturb all the time.
Oh, all my kids are.
So I can't call them.
I know, it's
because
so
it just goes to voicemail.
I have the same problem.
But, I think there's a younger subset of people that they don't even think that they're ever going to pick up a phone call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And I definitely see that, but I feel like we're not there yet. A lot of times, like when I train salespeople, they'll say, yeah, well, we're just in a generation where everybody texts and, customers, they're more apt to text you back than call. So we're just going to text. And I'm always battling this. And I say, I understand that because I'm one of them. I would prefer texting. I'm busy, tied up all day, But at the end of the day, if you want to close something with me, you're going to get a lot faster by just calling and making connection.
Yep.
Personal connections for me, AI can never replace.
Yeah.
It's that face-to-face contact. It's those feelings that you get when somebody cares. Somebody's asking the right questions, and if I'm doing research on a vehicle and you ask me more questions like, how long have you been looking, or what's your time frame look like, or have you ever bought a Volkswagen before? What's your experience been with our store? Have you heard about us before? It just allows me to showcase benefits all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not like the customer's going to call and be like, yeah, sell me on why I should buy from you.
Yeah.
It's like, we still need that manpower. That's that personalized connection that lets people know we know what we're doing. You can feel confident in me. Hey, I'm asking the right questions. You could trust me. Hey, you could believe in me. Hey, we're the best dealer in Colorado, the longest standing store, and have it land.
Yeah. Well, so actually last night, and we presented it in our sales meeting today.
Yeah.
But had a lot of conversation coming into this, knew we were going to talk about AI and stuff like that. And I was like, the one thing that I know our customers do is they're asking AI all about the shopping process, everything like that.
Yeah, is this a fair
and
deal?
It's like, why are my salespeople not engaged in, like, what do you think they know?
Yeah.
Yep. And it was crazy, the prompts and everything that and how detailed and how accurate. And the deals that it presented the customers
were actually pretty good deals.
Were very good deals that were real,
Yes.
And it just, and it also prompts them, you need to get 3+ quotes, be patient, and it's coaching them all these different ways. But what is going to then set you apart?
Yeah.
So if they're getting coached to go get, go online, it even created a template for me to send to all the dealers. Asking the specific questions and what to look for, what not to look for. So like everyone's going to respond with relatively the same thing, or they're not, and then they're just out. But yeah, the phone call is is the only way. And even if you're leaving a message, they hear your voice. So much more can be articulated through that than text and email.
Yeah, I think this is it's an important conversation to have, especially with business leaders today too, because your sales staff, they will sell you on the fact that nobody answers the phone, nobody wants to talk anymore. And it's actually great to hear you say, hey, it's still alive. We still have to leverage it. It's actually, I say it's going to actually move you closer to the finish line. If I go in the CRM and I look at like all the tasks and I look at the follow-up and I look at how many texts went ping, 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 we got nowhere and they ghosted you. It happens so frequently. Why didn't you just pick up the phone and 5-minute phone call, let's shut this thing down?
Yep.
We're actually wasting more time.
Yep.
I find myself saying this all the time, but
yeah, as long as you get that connection. I think that's the most
trick.
Difficult thing, and that's what they're afraid of
that.
is them picking up the phone. And then once you get that two-way connection, and we've always talked about it, but you can get so much, 5-minute phone call.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be 30 emails.
Oh, totally. 4 hours. I mean,
right.
4 days.
And 2 weeks.
Text.
Right.
Yeah, putting you on ice.
So it's just a much more efficient as long as you can get that connection.
Yeah, leveraging humans and AI. We're a workforce together now. And I loved your part about the ChatGPT because I think that's something I've been training managers to train on in their stores. It should be part of every single weekly training. There's a way to use it, and the more that you're showing adoption and just interest in it, I think it allows the team members to see too that, hey, this is something that we should be using, we can use, like it is helping my life. The more you use things, the more you see the benefit, you see its capacity. And I love that you're mentioning that you're seeing that customers actually are showing up with ChatGPT deals. I see it too. And if we don't train our salespeople on how to leverage that into the conversation, I think we could actually build a lot of trust here.
Yeah. We're seeing them use it in the showroom.
Yeah.
Using it with their phone.
I know.
So it's like almost, do we take ours and then do the same thing? And
and you could have a whole ChatGPT conversation. Actually, there's a guy that I had in one of my classes the other day, Russ Flips Whips, and you look him up on TikTok. He's great, and he did a TikTok the other day with this exact process.
Right. Yeah. Hilarious. How do I overcome this objection? And then it's like,
and they're both using the GPT on their phones. It was really, really funny. But this is really a fun conversation for me to have with you and just see like where you're at right now, headspace wise and mindset wise. We have a lot of challenges right now with trying to sell cars, and some having worse troubles than others. But we're going to a new year. We're going into a new year and a new opportunity to set intentions and mindset and really kind of just reset. Where do we want to go? How do we get to our next level? How do I want to shape my team? What do my meetings look like? What are we going to talk about? What kind of tech are we going to infuse? What's our game plan? We just covered a lot of that stuff today.
Yeah. Sure
check, check,
did.
check, check, check. Well, thank you so much for, your insights and your time today, and, spending some time getting to know you has been really nice to hear how
Yeah,
you guys are doing
we're
things.
so
And
close.
yeah, we're actually neighbors. But this really isn't just about theory today. You're giving us a bit of a roadmap and a real perspective on modernizing, without sacrificing that soul of retail,
Yeah.
because we don't want to lose that. It's kept you in business for over 100 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure some of the core fundamentals that you've heard in your family Christmas dinners over the years are things that sit with you and help you shape your business. And now you're thinking about AI and tech and service optimization. And yeah, great perspective today. I take it to heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's also inspiring too, just to hear, listen, we have to change. That's what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every day. That's all I'm thinking about. I got to change. I got to change. What are we going to change? What are we going to change? Nobody wants to feel that pressure. They don't want to feel that pain.
The world is evolving, and if we don't evolve with it, then we're going to be left behind.
Yeah. Yeah. And next thing you know, somebody else has hijacked your business and
Yeah.
your customer base.
Right.
And, customers' behaviors are changing, and team members, behaviors are changing. And, to everybody, thank you so much, and keep listening. And, we're always keep pushing for that next level, and that next piece of information could be that one thing that just inspires. And that's why we're doing this here today. So thanks so much for your time.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks everyone for listening to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. Don't forget, my weekly live classes are designed to keep your team fired up, skilled up, and focused on results. Subscribe right now at edealersolutions.com. See ya!